up with.
That's not one, just not one.
Honey, maybe?
I have over here, thank you.
If he's on a diet, don't give him honey. What do you need honey for?
Okay, where are we holding?
Now, this piece right over here is not necessarily extremely based, right?
Oh, you got this computer to do the
Yeah,
other-
yeah.
it looks, oh, very nice, perfect.
You need a spoon or you have the?
No, I don't.
I'll get it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll get a spoon.
Thank you. So we're starting the fourth period,
This is the last time.
last period. And the scene's supposed to be on Monday, I
On
think.
Monday.
That's the game. That's good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
5 days, so there's 5 more blocks, right?
Mhm. Okay, I'm sorry. Three times a year, which soon is going to say what those 3 times a year are. So the Kohanim, they do Birchas Kohanim 4 times a day. And these 3 days, they do Birchas Kohanim. That's what it seems to say. On these 3 days, they're going to do Birchas Kohanim 4 times on the day, during the day. Usually we only do it by Shachris, and then also there's a Musaf. What are the 3 times? What are the 3 times? B'Tainiyos, b'Mamados, b'Yom Kippurim. On the Tainiyos Tzibur, that they also did Ne'ilah. That's we didn't have till now, that there's a din of Ne'ilah also. So it doesn't say clearly which Tainiyos it's referring to by the last group of 7, surely. And I have it down that the Ran talks about the second group of 3, and the first group of 3 maybe might be a suffix. It's not clear which Tainiyos do they do Ne'ilah, but sometimes they do. Surely the last group. So now it's going to say it on those Tainiyos, they also do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha, by Ne'ilah, and Mamados. The Mishnah is going to talk about Mamados. The whole parak is going to be talking about Mamados a lot. What does Mamados mean? And Yom Kippurim. That makes sense to us. That's understand. Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, Ne'ilah. It says here that you do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha and Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur. We don't do. We'll go a little further. We don't do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha of Yom Kippur. But so far the Mishnah says that you do. But our minhag is not like the Mishnah. That's the end of the first point. And now the Mishnah goes on to explain what does Mamados mean. This word Mamados, if anybody's familiar with the word Anshe Maimed, and there's a shul on Mea Shorim called Anshe Maimed, so it has to do with these Mamados. Okay, not that it's really, but okay, Eilein Mamados. What does Mamados mean? The fish now, Sabbath Bnei Yisrael is Korban Lachmi. Since it says in the Torah that Am Yisrael should bring a korban tamid, how could it be that if you bring a korban you're not there? So it's not mamish necessary because you can send a korban, you could make a shliach, but it's not proper that the person should bring a korban. Am Yisrael is bringing korbanos and they're not there. It's kilu Leviim Rishonim Esem Arba Mishmaros Al Kol Mishmar Mishmar Yimama B'Yerushalayim Shel Kohanim V'Shel Leviim V'Shel Yisraelim. So this goes back to the Mishmaros. So the Mishmaros is the psukim that it says in Divrei Hayom in Chronicles 1, parak 24. The easy way to remember. 24 Mishmaros is in parak 24. And even though the parak are nothing, it's just the invention of the Goyim, but there's a good simon over here. Also parak 25. Parak 24 is the Mishmaros of the Kohanim. It says all the names of the 24 Mishmaros. And then parak Chafei over there has 24 Mishmaros of the Leviim. Now it's saying that on that they made a mamad Yerushalayim shel Kohanim shel Leviim shel Yisrael. They made the mamad. Mamad is like the Gemara said before. We said before, you have to be omid al korban. So they have a mamad in Yerushalayim. The people should be representation, even though it's true that the whole Am Yisrael is not going to be on the korban, but at least it's going to be a representation of Am Yisrael to be by the korban tamid. And it seems to say over here that it's included Kohanim Leviim and Yisraelim. Kohanim Leviim anyway is going to be from the Mishmaros. That's the representation of the Kohanim of the Leviim. But now it says also the Yisraelim also were by the korban. So you had shifts that were divided. They divided the Yisraelim also into 20. They had 24 shifts. Agav, the Rambam says that not everybody partook of the Mamad. There's only Yirei Chet And I forgot exactly the lesson that he says. Not everybody took part of the Maimon. Somebody mentioned that not everybody wanted to. It's going to be a pretty tough week. You take off a week from whatever you're doing, and there's going to be 4 fast days in a row. So not everybody's going to be jumping. It has to be after the Yerei that want to do it. Could be.
Or people want to publicity.
What?
No, it could be someone had Shalei Lishma also.
Okay, but that's the Rambam. I don't know where he gets it from. That they didn't divide all the Israelim into 24, only those that were Ra'ui. But anyway, it says that they had the representation of the Israelim also divided into 24. That's called Mamados. When it came to their week, the week of the Mishmar, so the Kohen Levim, they had to go to Yerushalayim because their point was to do the Avodah. They couldn't stay in their city and be part of the Mishmar. In order to be part of the Mishmar, they had to go to the Beis HaMikdash to do the Avodah. The Kohanim to do the Kabbalah, the Levim to do Shir, whatever they're supposed to do. But Israel, Shabois and Mishmar, is constant the compromise of gracious. So Israel, we said before a second ago that they also were Mama, they held the Mama, they went to Yerushalayim. Rashi seems to say that those that lived in Yerushalayim, they're the ones who, of the 24 Mamados, that they divided the Israelim into, so some of them lived in Yerushalayim. In Yerushalayim were representation of all the 24 Mamados. I don't see in the Mishnah Mamish, but Rashi seems to say that. And now people that were in other cities, they didn't have to come. That's what Rashi seems to learn. Maybe others learn different. Rashi seems to learn that the people who lived in Yerushalayim, they were the ones who went to be by the Korban of the Israelim. But in all the other cities, they didn't have to come to Yerushalayim. They didn't have a 24th. One of them, mothers all come to Yerushalayim. They stayed in their own cities. And they would dedicate the week to davening and, as we're going to see, fasting, and their carbon should be liskabel, but should be accepted. That's what Rashi seems to say. So Yisrael, Shabbos, and Mishmar, Wisconsin, Lorraine, the carbon Ma'aser Bereishis. The Israelim that are in those shift in that Ma'amad, so they get together in their own cities that don't come to Yerushalayim. Those that live in Yerushalayim are in Yerushalayim. Those that are not, so then they gather in their city and they do Ma'amodos. What does that mean? First of all, it says here they read Ma'aser Bereishis. Means there's a Kriyas HaTorah every day of the week, special for the Ma'amodos. If you go to the minyan of them, there's going to be a regular minyan, and then there's a minyan of the Ma'amodos every week. I think that there'd be probably a room dedicated in every city for the Ma'amodos because they're different people each week, but they're going to be
The
minyan.
didn't go to Yerushalayim.
So it seems to say over here that it says here Wisconsin Boreim. It says here Wisconsin Boreim. So Rashi says that the people who lived in Yerushalayim, they were the ones who were in Yerushalayim. They lived in Yerushalayim, so their Mamad was ala korban. And people in other cities, they didn't come to Yerushalayim. You didn't have from all Am Yisrael. You didn't have that the 24th. They came up to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim. Those they stayed in their city and they davened. So before when it said Omed al Gaba, it doesn't have to mean dafka that they were actually there physically, but they were mityaches to the korban and they davened and they made the tanesim and kriyas Torah. That's what it says now. And they read Ma'aser Bereishis. So what does Ma'aser Bereishis mean? Ma'aser Bereishis means the first parsha of the Torah. Vayiboker Yom Echad and then Yom Sheni until the Gemara is going to say right away. The Mishnah is going to say what kriyas Torah, how is it divided every day. And the Gemara is going to talk about what is Ma'aser Bereishis have to do with the Kabbanis. They're talking about Kabbanis, so make the Kriyas Torah something about Kabbanis. It doesn't say that. It says the Kriyas Torah is about Ma'aser Bereishis. And the Gemara is going to talk about that. The next two or three lines is a question. If you go sit over here, we'll read it, but it's in parentheses. And just to point out that the Mishnah continues after the parentheses what the Kriyas Torah was. The Korban Ma'aser Bereishis, and it tells you now, Yom HaRishon, what they read, Bereishis, V'Yirakia. So we'll read the parentheses in between, but it's questionable if you go sit or not. The people of the Ma'amad, they fasted 4 days out of the week. Which 4 days? Yom B'Sheni ad Yom Chamishi. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they fasted 4 days in a row. Of course, they ate at night, but they fasted 4 days in a row. But they didn't fast on Sunday and Friday. So for Kavod Shabbos, they didn't go into Shabbos fasting, so they didn't fast Erev Shabbos. And also, also, they didn't fast on Sunday in order that there shouldn't be such a drastic change from Shabbos of Menucha V'Oneg to go into Yigiyah V'Tainis. They're going to have a 5-day fast now. So that would be too much of a drastic change. So this way, Sunday would be like a slow. It's not like full of Shabbos food. It's not like that. It's going to be regular breakfast and lunch without supper. But there shouldn't be such a drastic change. So they didn't fast on Sunday and Friday, just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But now going back to the Kriyas Torah, Korban Ma'aser Bereishis. So what is the Kriyas Torah? So Ma'aser Bereishis means the first parsha of the Torah, and each day they read that day's creation, and also the next day. That's how the Mishnah is going to say now. Yom Rishon on Sunday they read Bereishis V'Yirakia. Rishis is the first day, and Yirakia is the second day. So, and that's what the Mishnah is going to go on there. Each day is going to say each day of the week they read that day's creation plus tomorrow's creation. Rashi says the reason is because there's not enough psukim in the kriya of one day. You don't have 9 psukim minimum in order to get 3 aliyahs. You have to have 3 aliyahs over here. So you're not going to get 3 aliyahs in one parsha. So they do 2 parshas, today and tomorrow. The Sheni, Yirakia v'kava on Monday, they read the parsha of Monday and Tuesday. The Shlishi, on Tuesday, Yikavu Amayim v'himoros, they read the parsha, the creation of Tuesday and Wednesday. The Revi'i Himoros v'yishisu Amayim, on Yom Revi'i, on Wednesday, they read the parsha of creation of Wednesday and also of Thursday. And B'chamishi Yishisu Amayim v'Tosei Oretz. On Thursday, they read the creation of Thursday and of Erev Shabbos, Friday. And B'shishi v'Tosei Oretz v'Yichulu Hashemayim. On Friday, they read the creation of Torah of Friday and Shabbos. There is no creation. They're not going to do this on Shabbos. So my mothers don't do on Shabbos. Only Sunday to Friday. Creation of Torah every day. Tanesim 4 out of the 6 days. It goes on to say how you get 3 aliyahs out of these psukim, because there's also not going to be enough psukim, even if you have 2 parshios. Parsha Gedol Kronos B'Shnayim V'Aktana B'Yachid. And each time that you have 2 parshios, one is bigger than the other. The bigger one you divide into 2 aliyahs, and the smaller one you only have 1 aliyah. Altogether 3 aliyahs of the people that are part of the Maimed. And the bigger parsha, whichever one it is, Rashi says a lot of them are only going to be 5 psukim also. Even the bigger parsha is only 5 psukim. That's not enough to divide into 2. So the more is going to say how you divide it. We also have the problem sometimes on Rosh Chodesh also. We have to double the go back. That's going to be the sugya in the Gemara, I think. But whatever it is, you divide the bigger one into 2, and the smaller one is only for 1 aliyah. B'shachris, b'musaf, over mincha, nichnasim v'koran al pihan, kikoran eshma. So it's a hard Mishnah to how to divide, how to put the comma. Where does the comma go? So surely it says 2 points, and the question is about the 3rd point. By Shachris, we just finished talking about that you do Kriyas Torah. Spoke about aliyahs, how you divide the aliyahs. That's Mamash Kriyas Torah from the Sefer Torah with aliyahs. And then the Mishnah says also about mincha, you don't read it. You read the parsha, but not from the Sefer Torah. The mincha, everybody read. They do read it, but they don't read it from the Sefer Torah. The same way Kriyas Shema, everybody says it. Everybody says Kriyas Shema. So too, everybody would say the parsha. The Anshe Maimed, all of them that are in that minyan, they would say the Torah with these 2 parshas of the day, but not from the Sefer Torah. They always say it together, either in unison or individually. But that's by mincha. The question is how you read the Mishnah about Musaf over here. By Yosef says Bim Musaf, which would be pretty clear that this is all that the Kriyas Torah from Sefer Torah is b'shachris, but the Musaf and b'mincha they would read it al peh. But they say the Gears is a mistake. It should be Uva Musaf. This Uva Musaf. Now you don't know how to read it. Now do you read it that the Kriyas Torah is b'shachris of a Musaf, comma, and then b'mincha the chlas in the Karn al peh, or do you read it that this was b'shachris only, and the Musaf of mincha you read it bal peh? The question means we don't know what to do by Musaf. Musaf is the question how you read it. Is it going back on shachris or is it going back forward on mincha?
So we never find Kriyas Torah and Musaf, so maybe it's going on.
I don't know. I hear. That's odd. The Gemara's going to talk about it, and the Gemara's going to come out. I think that you do read from Sefer Torah on Musaf also.
So it's the only time. Okay, fine.
That's what I want in my Gemara. That the Gemara's going to come out that Musaf also you do read it, but just in the Mishnah alone, it's not clear how to read the word Musaf. Shachris, you surely read from the Sefer Torah, and you have 3 aliyahs, and it says how you divide it. And Mincha, surely it says that you read it bal peh. Everybody reads it together. And Musaf is a question how you read the Mishnah. Do you read it it's like Shachris, and you have from Sefer Torah, or does it go together with Mincha, and you read it bal peh?
So always where you put the comma.
Yeah, you have to know where the comma is. It's very important to know where the comma is.
Why didn't they
tell
take
the
the
joke?
Gemara?
They tell the joke. Just let's eat grandpa. So the grandfather jumps out of the window. You think he's going to go eat him? Or it's let's eat grandpa.
Why didn't they put commas in the Gemara?
It's not a question of a comma. They could have written it in a way that it should be clear.
Yeah, why didn't they do that?
They could have said Abel b'mincha. I don't know. The way it says now, here it says b'musaf u'b'mincha, then also it's clear. Maybe that became a mistake that happened
the
in the Torah
Torah?
afterwards.
Uh-huh.
If it's written in okay, why did they write it in a way that
The
it's not
Torah,
clear?
you have the timing, but on the other hand, it's not printed.
The timing also is only after the Gemara says there's 5 psukim shem amachreya. The timing do say amachreya which way, but that itself is not clear. The Gemara says by 5 psukim
So
we don't know.
by those 5 psukim.
Yeah, the timing amachreya, one of the 2 ways you get. The timing do say the timing
What's the
punctuation. No, that's after. That'll be the
That's
bala
after the
timing.
Gemara.
Right, something like that. That's taking one sign.
No, so I'm asking, why didn't Hashem say to write in the Torah the timing? Why do you only want
Hashem could have written it in a way that it has achra. So Hashem wanted it to be in a way that it's not achra. Hashem wanted to be able to be.
But
to
besides these 5
I don't know.
psukim,
So sometimes Hashem wanted that it should be clear.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes Hashem wanted it to be two ways to read it. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Okay. The Mishnah continues. This is the whole parak of Mishnah. We're learning the whole parak of Mishnah now. Erev Shabbos b'mincha lo yinachnasim b'nei kvod Shabbos. Erev Shabbos mincha, there was no minion for the Mamodas. They didn't have this Mamodas minion that they have a special minion. Well, Rashi also points out that they daven for the Karbonis also. They daven that the Karbonis should be in Skabal B'ros, and I think the Gemara is going to say later on also special tefillas that they do. But here it says that mincha of Erev Shabbos they didn't get together, and there's not going to be the Kriyas Torah. It means mincha usually you'd have at least al peh, like it says that mincha you read the parsha of al peh. Here it says, what did it say? Shishi you read Vatotzi Ares and Vayichulu Hashemayim. That's only in the morning. In the morning of Friday morning, they didn't fast again. Like we said, they didn't fast Sunday and Friday. So, but they got together for the minyan and they read the Kriyas Torah of Friday and Vayichulu. But in mincha they didn't get together. There was no, and usually even though on the mincha they would be koren al peh, on Friday mincha they didn't because for Shabbos.
It's fine in read in the Mincha of Shabbos. Very influenced me.
Yeah, I don't know. The Mishnah continues. Kol yom sheish bo halal ein bo ma'amid b'shachris. On a day that there's halal, which would be, for instance, Chanukah Tosfos points out. When do you have halal without musaf? When do you have halal without musaf? Chanukah, any other time? So you say Rosh Chodesh, but Rosh Chodesh is not a real halal. It's only half halal. It's a minhag. It's not real. It's not really a chiyuv to say halal on Rosh Chodesh. It's the only time that you have Chanukah, that you have a halal without musaf.
We have musaf.
Yes, but you don't have halal. The halal of Rosh Chodesh is not a real halal. It's a minhag and it's not.
When
a
do you
real
have
halal.
musaf without halal?
When do you have halal? Musaf without halal is Rosh Chodesh. When do you have halal without musaf? Chanukah. Even though you're supposed to have mamados, it sounds like even on Chanukah also you'd have mamados. I think they're not going to fast because on Chanukah you're not allowed to fast. So I think I didn't see inside, but I see Pasha that you're not allowed to fast on Chanukah. So even though the mamados fast on Chanukah they don't. Now it says that it's the days that have halal, so it seems that they would read the Sefer Torah even though they're not fasting. They still would read the Sefer Torah, but on a day that has halal, they didn't do Mamadas of Shachris, which would mean they wouldn't read the Sefer Torah by Shachris. Also, Rashi keeps on saying the point about davening also, they didn't have special tefillah for the Karbonos. The Mamadas, besides fasting and Kriyas Torah, they also would daven special tefillahs. So these special tefillahs they didn't do also on a day that has halal by Shachris. By Shachris, they took down the Mamad of Shachris on a day that has halal. On a day that has Korban Musaf, Ein B'Ne'ilah. So the mamad is usually daven nila, but here it says on a day that had a korban musaf, which would mean like Rosh Chodesh that has musaf. I think on the days that I'm amishamtiv, like Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, I think that there's not going to be mothers at all. I think there's no mothers at all. But here a korban musaf without no ein nila would mean on a day like Rosh Chodesh. They're not fasting either on Rosh Chodesh. But here it says that there's no mamad min ne'ilah. That would sound a little bit like they do have Ne'ilah, thus there's never Kriyas Torah by Ne'ilah. We said before, Kriyas Torah is going to be Shachris, Musaf, and Mincha. Shachris is going to be from the Sefer Torah. Musaf questionable if it's from the Sefer Torah or if it's from Baal Peh, and Mincha is Baal Peh. But by Ne'ilah, there's no Kriyas Torah. So when it says here, Kov Musaf Ein B'Ne'ilah, it's not talking about Kriyas Torah of Ne'ilah. There never is a Kriyas Torah of Ne'ilah. So it must mean the extra davening, like the Rashi says, that they would daven more, they would get together with a special minyan and daven more things about the Korbanos. So they didn't get together. They didn't do that by the tefillah of Ne'ilah. Tosfos says the Girsa, Korban Musaf Ein Ne'ilah. Tosfos seems to say that they didn't do Ne'ilah at all. And there, that's the Korban Musaf, they didn't have Ne'ilah. It would be Rosh Chodesh, so they wouldn't make this special tefillah of Ne'ilah. And the third thing is Korban Eitzim. Korban Eitzim is a new concept that's coming up. Michigan explained it at length. What does Korban Eitzim mean? We'll just say it in a second. That a Korban Eitzim is, there were certain days that were designated for different families to donate wood to the Beis HaMikdash, and they got the schus because they had done that in times of Nehemiah, that they needed wood in the Beis HaMikdash, and certain families donated, and they got the privilege to be able to donate every year on that day, and the anniversary of the day that they donated, so they have a schus every year to bring Eitzim. That's like a little yontif. So on the day that has Korban Eitzim, this Mishnah is going to say soon what those days are, then you don't do a mamad by mincha. What does it mean again, a Ma'amad Mincha? So we said that there's usually a quiz of Torah, not from Sefer Torah, Balpeh, but you don't do that on a date that's a Korban Eitzim. Or Rashi will say also that you don't have the special tefillas. Whatever the Ma'amad is, that was extra, they don't do this special tefillas on Mincha. It could be that they don't get together b'chol, they don't have this Ma'amad minyan. Usually every community is going to have all the minyanim, and there's a special Ma'amad minyan. And they don't get together for Mincha on the day that there's a Korban Eitzim. They Rabbi Akiva. And Amar Ben Azai, Kachaya Bishua Shana. Ben Azai told Rabbi Akiva that Bishua says different than you as far as the two things about the Korban Musaf and the Korban Eitzim. Again, there's 3 points the Mishnah spoke about the day that has Halal, a day that has Musaf, a day that has Korban Eitzim. And Rabbi Akiva said that the Korban Musaf and the Korban Eitzim, when the Korban Musaf will take away the Ma'amad of Ne'ilah, and the Korban Eitzim will take away the Ma'amad of Mincha. And Ben Azai said Rabbi Bishua argues on those two things, he switches it around. He learns Korban Musaf and B'mincha. When there's a Korban Musaf, not like you said, the Korban Musaf takes away the Ma'amad of Ne'ilah, it takes away the Ma'amad of Mincha, and Korban Eitzim takes away the Ma'amad of Ne'ilah. It switches around the two things of Korban Musaf and Korban Eitzim. Rabbi Yeshua says the opposite of you, Rabbi Akiva. And Chazal Rabbi Akiva, Leo Shana Kibben Azai, and Rabbi Akiva was masking. Rabbi Akiva agrees to him. So the new version is everyone's going to be masking that again, the day that has Halal, there's no Ma'amad B'Shachris. A day that has Musaf, there's no Ma'amad B'Mincha. And the day that has Korban Eitzim, there's no Ma'amad of Ne'ilah. Now the Mishnah goes in to tell you what is the whole thing about this Asman Eitzim, Korban Eitzim. What is this Korban Eitzim? So it starts over here. Asman Atzei Kohanim V'Am Tisha. There are 9 days during the year that the time of the wood of the Kohanim and the people. What does it mean? That the Kohanim and the people, which the Mishnah is going to say soon which days they were, that they had designated days when they donated wood. And those are Yom Tov for those specific families. And here it says that also everybody has a little bit on that day, the fact that there's no Ma'amad. On the first of Nisan, that's the Asay Kohen, that's the Asman Eitzim of the family of Arach ben Yehuda. This is all from Shevet. This is going to be here from Shevet Yehuda and Shevet Benyamin, and also one more, another Ben Rechav. I forgot where Shevet is from, but most of them are going to be from Yehuda, besides one of Benyamin and another Ben Rechav. And these are the people in the Aliyah of Nehemiah. When Nehemiah came and they needed wood. So over there it says that they donated wood to the Beis HaMikdash. And they have an anniversary every year. There's their privilege to bring wood to the Beis HaMikdash, and they brought karbanos. So on the first of Nisan, it was Rosh Chodesh, but besides that, it also was the time of the family of Arach ben Yehuda, Arach from Shevet Yehuda, to bring their wood. That was Aleph Nisan. B'Esrim B'Tammuz B'nei David ben Yehuda. Rashi says this David is David HaMelech. I'm not sure, but he says David HaMelech from the Shevet Yehuda that they, on the 20th of Tammuz they had the schus to bring the wood. The
king is going to bring wood?
What?
The king is going to bring, you said David Melech Yisrael?
That's what Rashi says.
And he's going to bring wood? It's not considered degrading?
Degrading to bring wood to the Beis HaMikdash?
No, I don't understand.
They have a privilege to donate. It doesn't mean David, because David was not by times of Nehemiah. This is already after the Barabai Sheni. But it means that the family of David HaMelech, they're the ones that...
The offspring, okay.
The Chamisha Bab B'nei Parash ben Yehuda, the family of Parash, also Shevet Yehuda, they're the ones who bring the wood on the 5th of Av. Shivabo on the 7th of Av, B'nei Nerod ben Rechav. Asarabo on the 10th of Av, which we had mentioned earlier, because sometimes it says that sometimes Tisha B'Av was a nitches that came out Tisha B'Av on to be on their holiday of the 10th of Av. But Basarabo B'nei Sana ben Binyamin, this is the one of his Shevet Binyamin, and this family they had the schus to bring wood on the 10th of Av. The Chamisha Asabo on the 15th of Av, B'nei Zatu ben Yehuda, also Shevet Yehuda, his name is Zatu, and together with them, together with Zatu ben Yehuda, also was Mimayim, Kohanim, Ulavim, V'chol Mishatov, B'Shifto, B'nei Gon, B'Eli, B'nei Kosek Sios. All these other people also were nitpal to Zatu ben Yehuda, and they were allowed to bring wood on the 15th of Av. Who's them? Which are the people? Kohanim and Levim, and anybody that doesn't know what Shevet it belongs to. And because I think that it means Tav Shifto might mean other Shvatim that came up, they're also together with Yehuda and Binyamin, but they didn't have their own. They didn't know what Shevet they were from, or they were nitpal. And also the Gemara is going to talk about these two families of Gon V'Eli and Kosei Ksios. We'll see what that means. Gon V'Eli, Eli is a kind of a what is the word for an Eli? It's something that you chop grain with. And Kosei Ksios means that they.
That was their business?
We're going to see what the Gemara talks about. The Gemara says how they were they stole themselves in to be able to be all the regel. And Kosei Ksios means something about the tool that you use in order to cut down figs. But we'll see what that is. The Gemara doesn't tell us. The Mishnah doesn't tell us. So they all had a schus to bring wood on the 15th of Av. It's interesting that it calls it B'nei Zman Asei Kohanim V'Am. HaKohanim is only on this one day. The Nitbal to Zata Ben Yehuda. The rest of them were not the Kohanim. They were all of them Shevet Yehuda. Interesting that the terminology is called, the term is called the Zman Asei Kohanim V'Am. And the Esrim on the 20th of Av, B'nei Pachas Moab Ben Yehuda. So Pachas Moab sounds like the governor of Moab. What's he doing from Shevet Yehuda? So it's somebody Jewish, obviously. Some talk about David Melech also, since he came from Moab originally. I don't know. The Esrim Be'elul B'nei Adin Ben Yehuda. That's the 20th of Elul. And the last one is Echad B'Teves B'Shavu B'nei Parash Shniya. On the 1st of Teves, that was the second time that to Parash. Parash was a couple of lines ago. He had said he also was the Chamish B'Av B'nei Parash. He was on the 5th of Av. And they had a second turn, because they donated a second time in the times of Nehemiah. So the second time they have is on the 1st of Teves. Those are the 9 times. Start again, just to go through the list. It's going to be the 1st of Nisan, the 20th of Tammuz, the 5th of Av, the 7th of Av, the 10th of Av, the 15th of Av, the 20th of Av, 20th of Elul, and the 1st of Teves. Those are the 9 times. Now the Mishnah says, notice, on Echad B'Teves, Echad B'Teves lo yibo Mamad at all. There was no Mamad on the 1st of Teves. Why? Because it had 3 issues about it. What? It's Hanukkah, it's also Rosh Chodesh, and it's also Korban Eitzim. Shoibo Halal, the Korban Musaf, the Korban Eitzim. Halal because of Hanukkah, Korban Musaf because of Rosh Chodesh, and Korban Eitzim because that was the Parash Shniya. They had Parash over there. So there's not going to be a Mamad, but not by Shachris because of Halal. And Korban Musaf, so we said at the end, Korban Musaf takes away from the Mamad of Mincha, and Korban Eitzim takes away from the Mamad of Nila. So there was no Mamad at all. New Mishnah. Chamisha Dvorim, Five tragedies happened to our fathers in the 17th of Tammuz and the 5th and the 9th of Av. And 5 things also happened on the 9th of Av. B'Shivas b'Tammuz. Nishtabru al-Luchos. The 5 things that happened in Shivas b'Tammuz, the Luchos were broken. That's when Moshe Rabbeinu came down. They were doing the Egel. He broke the Luchos. Utal HaTamid, the Tamid was stopped. There was no more Korban Tamid. I don't recall if this was in the Bais Rishon or the Bais Shein. I guess we're going to see the Gemara about that. Hofka'ir, the city of Yerushalayim was broken through in the second base of Mikdash. The Sarah for Pustamus as a Torah. There's a person who's a Apikoros, a Pustamus. I mean, I don't know. We don't know much about him. We don't know much about a Pustamus. We don't know about who this was. Does Rashi say anything over here? Rashi doesn't say. And I think we don't know too much about that story. There was a case where he burned the Sefer Torah. And that was the Shavas B'Tammuz also. The Hamid over Huam Batzelim, an idol was erected in the Heichal. They talk about the Gemara talk about times of Menashe. So those are the 5 tzoros that happened to our fathers on Shavas B'Tammuz. And on Tisha B'Av, another 5 things happened. But Tisha B'Av, God Nigzal Avosei Shalei comes from Baretz. That was when the decree was that it shouldn't come to Eretz Yisrael after the Meraglim. And Chorev Habayis Barishon V'Shniya, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed both the first and the second. Both of them happened on Tisha B'Av. Beita was the city of Beita was captured, conquered, and Nechmash Sha'ir, that Yerushalayim was razed. That the Goyim they plowed through Yerushalayim to destroy the city. Those are the 5 tragedies of Tisha B'Av. When Av comes in from Rosh Chodesh Av, so he's supposed to minimize Simcha. The Gemara is going to talk about the details about that. Shabbos Shechol Tisha B'Av Lios Pesocha, the week of Tisha B'Av. We call Shavuot Shechol Bo. It doesn't mean Shabbos. Shabbos here doesn't mean the day of Shabbos. It means the week. The week. Shavuot Shechol Tisha B'Av. Shavuot Shechol Bo. Asim L'Sapa Molachabes. It says Aser the whole week to take a haircut and to wash clothing. It means what we call the 9 days, and the Mishnah doesn't have the 9 days. It just has the Shavuot Shechol Bo. It doesn't say the 9 days from Rosh Chodesh. It just says Mishnech L'Sapa Matin V'Simcha. But from Shavuot Shechol Bo, then it's Aser to take a haircut and Aser to wash clothing. Rashi brings down the Gemara is going to say only until Tisha B'Av, but the week, the days of the week after Tisha B'Av, there's no Shazdin as Shavuot Shechol Bo. Shavuot Shechol Bo is only till Tisha B'Av. After Tisha B'Av, so then it's not anymore called Shavuot Shechol Bo. The Thursday will be mutter because of Kavod Shabbos. So it comes out a fascinating thing that it comes out. If Rashi says the case is that Tisha B'Av came out on a Friday, which nowadays doesn't come out like that. So even though the whole week is also to wash clothing and to take a haircut, but on Thursday be mutter. It comes out that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they didn't take a haircut or wash clothing, and then Friday, which is Erev Tisha B'Av, then Thursday, which is Erev Tisha B'Av, they are going to take a haircut and wash their clothing because Kavod Shabbos. Because Shabbos is coming in 2 days. Tomorrow is going to be Tisha B'Av, and they take a haircut and wash their clothing on Erev Tisha B'Av because Shabbos is coming. Nowadays, doesn't happen because Tisha B'Av doesn't come out on Friday. Just to point out that Rashi and Moed Katan seems to say that they don't take a haircut; it's only going on kibbutz, it's only going washing the clothing. That washing the clothing would be mutter on the Thursday, but Rashi seems to say in Moed Katan Daf Yud Zayin with Beis that Rashi the Ksav Yad, not the regular Rashi that we have, and he says that they don't take a haircut on.
All right, I think it
Erev
makes sense.
Tisha B'Av.
I understand it because to wash your clothing for Shabbos is a chiyuv. To take your haircut is not a chiyuv.
I'm not sure if it's a chiyuv to wash the clothing either.
That kind of says you know.
That
I mean, they're allowed to?
Also, I don't think so. It means that they should do it on Thursday. In order they should be panui on Friday.
No. Okay.
I think that's the way the kind of goes.
Okay.
Erev Tisha B'Av. Lo yochal adam shnei tavshilin. This is talking about the Sudam Apsekes. Even though it just says over here Erev Tisha B'Av, sounds like the whole Erev Tisha B'Av. The Gemara is going to say stop the last meal that he's eating, which we call Sudam Apsekes. So it's also to eat 2 cooked foods. You're not allowed to eat 2 cooked foods. You can eat 1 cooked food, but you can't eat 2 cooked foods. Another halacha lo yochal basav v'lishtay yain. It's also by Sudam Apsekes to eat meat and to drink wine. We're used to the whole 9 days. We don't. But minadin is only also by the Sudam Apsekes. That it's also to eat meat and to drink wine by the Sudam Apsekes. Rav Shimon Gamliel says it's not also completely. It's just that you should do differently. I think the Gemara is going to say it means to minimize. They'll do different than you usually do. But according to Tanakam, it's also the to eat meat and drink wine by the Sudam Apsekes. Yehuda says that it's the person's chayiv to turn over his bed. So this is Hilchos Avelos. Nowadays, it's not the custom to even by a novel to do that, but the halacha really is by Avelos to turn the bed upside down. And here it doesn't say. Rashi says not to sleep on the bed, but I think it says in the source over there that to sleep on the overturned bed. That's what Avel's supposed to do. And the question is if that's also done on Tisha B'Av. Yehuda says yes. That on Tisha B'Av also there's a din to be kriyas amita to turn the bed upside down. Maybe and to sleep on it like that. But the Chacham don't agree. There's no din of Kriyas Amita on Tisha B'Av. Amar Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. This is Aganata now for the rest of the Mishnah. Amar Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. Hayu Yom Tov Yisrael kachamisha asabav Yom Kippurim. There was no bigger Yom Tov for Am Yisrael than the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. What happened on those days? Besides what we know, why is a great Yom Tov of Yom Kippur? Chamisha asabav we have to find out still. But on those days they would celebrate. Shavhem b'nosh Yerushalayim Yosef b'chli Lavan. It doesn't seem to say that this is the reason why it was a big Yom Tov. Because it was a big Yom Tov, so then they would celebrate the following way. And it says they would have the Shabbat B'Nosh Yerushalayim. Tafka B'Nosh Yerushalayim, it sounds like, not in all places, but the B'Nosh Yerushalayim would go out, the clay lavan, with white clothing, She'ulin, borrowed white clothing. It means nobody would use their own clothing, they would all borrow from somebody else. Rashi says even a rich person, a rich girl that she has, she would borrow from somebody else. Why? Because if someone doesn't have, so then she'd be embarrassed that she doesn't have nice clothing like everybody else. So nobody took their own clothing, everybody borrowed from each other. Everybody, all these begadim have to be immersed in a mikvah because you don't know who's tamei. So everything went to the mikvah. The girls of Yerushalayim would go out and dance in the vineyards. Almost what would they say? Youth, raise your eyes and see what you're choosing. It means it seems that they came for shidduchim over there, and the boys who were of marriageable age would come out also to the caravan, and they would choose a wife. So the girls would say, raise your eyes and see what you're choosing. Don't put your eyes on beauty, put your eyes on the family, the yichus, that it should be a kosher yichus. That the charm is false and beauty is vain. A woman who fears Hashem, that she should be praised. So look for the Yitzchak Yerushalayim before I spoke about the mishpacha. Mishpacha means that it shouldn't be any psul yichus, it shouldn't be any question of lineage. Nowadays, the word mishpacha and yichus talks about chashivus. Doesn't mean that. It means kosher lineage. The Omer, another person, give her the fruits of her hands, and may her deeds praise her in the gates, in the cities. That the woman's deeds praise her, that she's praised by her deeds. The Gemara seems to say that, the Mishnah seems to say that this pasuk is going to be a reference to the whole issue that the B'nai Yerushalayim went out to dance on these days. So it says, go out and see the B'nai Sion. That's B'nai Yerushalayim we said before. But Melech Shlomo, the King Shlomo, Rashi says Melech Shlomo is referring to Hashem, Melech Shalom Shalom. But Torah Shechelo, with the crown that his mother crowned him, Rashi says it means Knesset Yisrael is crowning Hashem on the day of his marriage and on the day of the happiness of his heart. What does that mean? Rashi says that's according to Yom Kippur because the second luchos were given on Yom Kippur, and Yom Simchas Libo is a Bnei Beis Hamikdash, Yevana B'Meir Yameinu, which the simple pshat doesn't come in over here. What does Bnei Beis Hamikdash have to do with anything over here? The Hashem's happiness is when the Beis Hamikdash is built. That should be built soon in our days. Some things say that there is a connection between Chamisha Asabab and the Beis Hamikdash, which is not clear. I think the Mashal talks about it, but I don't see it. I don't know what the connection is between Chamisha Asabab and the Beis Hamikdash. But it does seem to be in the Mishnah that's what's being said. So that was the whole parak of Mishnayos, and we finished the Masechta of Mishnayos already. And now the Gemara now talks about the beginning of the Mishnah. It says, in the Mishnah that 3 times a year there will be Birchas Kohanim 4 times a day. Betanios, B'Mamados, and B'Yom Kippurim. B'Shlosh B'Shana Kohanim Rosim Eskapeim 4 times, which 3 times a year. Betanios, B'Mamados, Yom Kippurim. So the Moshe Kasha, Tanios, B'Mamados, Mika, Musaf. It says that there's Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, and Ne'ilah. Tanios don't have Musaf. And Mamados, even though sometimes they could come out on a day that has Musaf, but not every Mamados has Musaf. How could it say that on the Mamados there's Birchas Kohanim 4 times a day? Doesn't that usually have Musaf? Chasur Mechsur V'Achik Tani, something's missing in the Mishnah, should really read like this. The Mishnah doesn't mean to say that on these 3 days there's 4 times Birchas Kohanim. It means on these 3 days they do Birchas Kohanim whatever tefillah they have. If they have 1, 2, 3, even 4 sometimes. But not that it means to say that there are always 4 tefillahs. Whatever tefillah you have, Shachos Mincha Ma'ariv, Shachos Musaf, Mincha, not Ma'ariv. There's no Birchas Kohanim by Ma'ariv. But Shachos Musaf, if you have Musaf, at Mincha. If it doesn't have Musaf, so one have Musaf. Sometimes it's going to come out 4 times. B'Yom. Shachos Musaf, Mincha, and Ne'ilah, Shorim. Those are the 4 tefillahs that sometimes are going to come out. What are the 3 days? So the Mishnah says, the Gemara explains that it doesn't mean that all 3 days have 4 tefillos. All 3 days you do Birchas Kohanim, whatever tefillah you have. Tanias and Mamados only have 3 tefillos. They're going to have Shachris and Mincha and Ne'ilah. And Yom Kippur is even going to have Musaf also. So,
excuse me, would this Israelim or Israel Levim and Kohanim?
You're asking on Mamados? You're asking that the Mamados is only Israelim, so you're not going to have any Kohanim over there. How do you even do Birchas Kohanim? And Mamados if there's no Kohanim over there? I didn't think of that. They're very nice. The Mishnah before it. Let's look at the Mishnah a second. And yes, the Amud Aleph over there. It did talk about Hayamamad. And the first white line, it says there was a Mamad of B'Yushalayim Shel Kohanim Shel Avim Shel Yisraelim. So it did say, the word seemed to say there was a Mamad of Kohanim also. The problem is that the Chordah was not. There was the Kohanim were the ones that are doing about in the Beis Hamikdash. They weren't part of the Mamad. Unless you say that Mamad that wears in Yerushalayim, so then that the minyanim, so to speak, and the fasting, whatever that would also would be together with the Kohanim and the Leviim. And the nice point, I didn't think of it. That you talk about Birchas Kohanim by the Mamadas, you have to talk about that there are Kohanim over there. If the Mamad is only comprised of Yisrael, we wouldn't have any Birchas Kohanim. I'm sure they speak about it, I guess, but I didn't look into it. Thank you. Okay, back to Amud Beis. Amr of Nachman. Now the Gemara goes into Allah. So far we just explained that the Mishnah means to say on these 3 days you do Birchas Kohanim by every tefillah, and the Gemara is going to explain why. And now the Gemara first goes into the halacha. Amr of Nachman, Amr Rabbi Rav, who was Zudiv Rav Meir? I said halacha. They can't talk about halacha. There's no machlokes yet. I'm sorry. First the Gemara is going to bring in that not everybody agrees to the Mishnah, and then the Gemara is going to talk about who you pass like. Amr of Nachman, Amr Rabbi Rav, who was Zudiv Rav Meir. Our Mishnah is only Rav Meir talking that says that on these days, on these 3 days, Tanias, Mamadas, and Yom Kippur, you do Birchas Kohanim all the tefillas. There's only Rav Meir holds like that. But Chachamim Omrim, Shachris and Musaf, Yesh Ben Asiyas Kavayim, Mincha Ne'ilah Ein Ben Asiyas Kavayim. They argue. The Chachamim argue and they say no, only Shachris and Musaf like every time, only Shachris and Musaf. But we're not going to, even though it's a fast day, you're not going to do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha Ne'ilah. Who's that? Man Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara first says Chachamim. The Brisa says Rav Nachman, Rabbi Ravu said Chachamim. But now the Gemara is going to find the Brisa that this opinion is Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. So it's Machlokes Rav Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Our Mishnah is Rav Meir. And the Brisa Rabbi Yehuda is going to say, no, only Shachris and Mincha. The Tanya, Shachris and Musaf, Mincha Ne'ilah, Kulin Yesh Ben Asiyas Kavayim de Rav Meir. Again, same as our Mishnah, Rav Meir says that all the tefillas have Birchas Kohanim on the fast day. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shachas and Musaf yesh ben nesiyas kapayim, mincha and neila ain't ben nesiyas kapayim. That's Rabbi Yehuda that was quoted before, Chachamim, that only Shachas and Musaf, but mincha and neila, even though the fasting, there's no nesiyas kapayim. Now there's also a third opinion, which we didn't mention yet, is Rabbi Yossi. There's Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi. What does Rabbi Yossi say? Neila yesh ben nesiyas kapayim. I do agree to Rabbi Meir as far as neila, that you do Berachas Kohanim. It's a fast day. But mincha ain't ben nesiyas kapayim. I argue here, I like Rabbi Yehuda, that by mincha you don't do berachas kohanim. So we have three opinions. Rabbi Meir says you do berachas kohanim by everything. Rabbi Yehuda says only like a regular day shachas and musaf. And Rabbi Yossi says shachas musaf and also neila, but he agrees that mincha not. The Ma'ika Miflagi, what are they arguing about? What are these three opinions? What's the machlokes about? The Ma'ika Miflagi. Rabbi Meir Sava, kol yom time of ma'ilo parsi kohanim yidayim. How come every day you don't do berachas kohanim by mincha? Why not? Every day, in a regular weekday. How come you don't do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha? Mishum Shikros, because maybe the Kohanim are going to be Shikros. Since you're allowed to drink, you eat and drink, so they might be Shikr, and the Shikr is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim, as the Gemara is going to explain at the bottom of the page, that the Shikr is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim. So, but it's not like a Shikros. Now that they're fasting, there's no one Shikr, so there's no reason not to do Birchas Kohanim. So that's our Mishnah, Rav Meir, that you do Birchas Kohanim by all the tefillos on a fast day. By Mincha, and if it's Ne'ilah, and if Yom Kippur is Musaf, so you do also, that's Rav Meir, because there's no Shasha of being Shikr. Rabbi Yehuda Sava, Shachas and Musaf, the whole Yom L'Shchiach, Shichvus L'Goza B'Rabbanan, but Mincha Ne'ilah, the whole Yom L'Shchiach, Shichvus L'Goza B'Rabbanan. So Rabbi Yehuda says, I agree to you that the Etzem, there's no reason to make a Ta'asirit, because there's nobody's fast, there's no one Shikr, they're all fasting. But since you have on a regular day that people do eat, so you made a Gzeira only Shachas and Musaf, which never people are Shikr. Some point, the Rebbeinu Chananel points out, by the way, that you're not supposed to be drinking before Musaf. It says, Pasha to the Gemara that Musaf, no one's Shikr. They have Kiddush clubs. The Rebbeinu Chananel says here, there's no drinking before. You are allowed to make Kiddush, but it's not like, no. He says you're not allowed to, you see here, not allowed to eat before Musaf either. I think the Paskin allowed to eat till the Kibetza. You're allowed to make Kiddush before Musaf Paskin, but only Kibetza, not a whole Suda. And surely the Gemara says, no Chasha Shichvus. And it did become a big problem.
He didn't have America then.
What?
They didn't have America then.
But it should be bottled. I think they were bottled already. I don't know if they succeeded in moving bottled, but it's not. It's a trade thing. Nowadays they didn't have it, but nowadays this thing. So here the Gemara says, "Zachos and Musaf, there's never chash of shikros," and the Rebbe says that's the only. It's only when there's no chash shikros at all. But on since, but anything else we didn't permit it. Like a gzeira, low plug, only chachos and mincha. Rabbi Yossi Sava, mincha disa b'chol yom l'gazer b'Rabbanan, he looked less b'chol yom l'gazer b'Rabbanan. Rabbi Yossi agrees to make a gzeira, and therefore he says mincha that you do have every day mincha. If you can do birchas kohanim on some minchas on a fast day, they might do also on a not on a fast day. So there he agrees you have to make a gzeira. But by ne'ilah, there's no ne'ilah on a regular day. So only on the fast day. So there he doesn't see a reason to make a gzeira. So he says ne'ilah also you might do birchas kohanim, but he agrees that mincha not. Now how do you pass? Now we have machlokes. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, three opinions. Who do you pass like? Now the Gemara starts about who you pass like. I'm Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir. He passes like our Mishnah, like Rabbi Meir, that you anytime there's no chash of shichros on the first day, so there's birchas kohanim on all the tefillos, like our Mishnah said. Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, Ne'ilah. Rabbi Yochanan Nagu, I'm Rabbi Meir. Not that Allah is like Rabbi Meir, but that's what the custom is. Or Nagu. They say the difference between Nagu and Minhag. We have three opinions over here. You have halacha and nagu and minhag. And the Gemara explains right away what the difference is between these three terms. That means that you publicize it in the drasha and you say to everybody, halacha is like Rav Meir. That's what you're supposed to do. Minhag, midrash. The order is interesting that it says nagu and then minhag. So minhag is stronger than nagu. Minhag. I didn't realize that the Gemara is first. Rabbi Yochanan said nagu and then Rabbi said minhag. And the Gemara says minhag is stronger than nagu. The Gemara said it according to the chronological order. Rabbi Yochanan was before Rabbi. But Rabbi says that it's stronger than Rabbi Yochanan. It's a minhag. What does minhag mean? We don't pass it, we don't publicize it in the drasha, but if someone asks what Allah is, we will say that that's the Allah. Like a mayor, that you do birchas kohanim all the tefillos. Madam nagu, Rabbi Yochanan said nagu, that we don't pass it that way, we don't tell anybody to do that, but if somebody did it, so we don't retract it, it's not terrible. He could do it, we don't stop him. All these different opinions till now we said about Rabbi Meir, how much Allah is like Rabbi Meir, but he says Allah is like Rabbi Yossi, that what that Shachris Musaf and Ne'ilah, but Mincha not. Allah Rabbi Yossi. That's the halacha that you don't do birchas kohanim by Mincha, even on a fast day. And that's what we do by Yom Kippur, that we do Birchas Kohanim by Shachas Musaf and by Ne'ilah, but not by Mincha. But the Gemara says that the custom was to do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha also on a fast day, not on Yom Kippur, but on a fast day. So how come the custom is that people do Birchas Kohanim by Mincha B'Tainis, even though the person like Rabbi Yossi says you're not supposed to? The answer is since they do Birchas Kohanim next to close to sunset, it's similar to Ne'ilah. So some learn from the Gemara that it's only if you daven Mincha Ktana. If you daven Mincha on the Tainis close to Shkia, so then you do Birchas Kohanim. But if you daven Mincha Gedola, you wouldn't do Birchas Kohanim. They're different hagim, right? They're different hagim nowadays on the Tainis. I think so. Machlokes Achronim, how long the Gemara? In the Gemara, the simple shot in the Gemara seems to say that only if you're davening Mincha next to Shkia, so it's similar to Ne'ilah. Ne'ilah is daven close to, on a regular fast you don't have Ne'ilah. So he says that if it's a fast day that has, it comes out, if it's a fast day that has Mincha and Ne'ilah, like Yom Kippur, so then Ne'ilah you'll do Birchas Kohanim and Mincha you won't. But if it's a fast day that does not have Ne'ilah, and you're davening Mincha close to sunset, so then you'll do Birchas Kohanim because it's similar to Ne'ilah, the fact that it's close to sunset. But if you can daven Mincha,
but that's the only time we do it.
so I'm talking about Mincha now, that you don't have Ne'ilah. So if you daven Mincha close to Shkia, so then you could do Birchas Kohanim. But if you can daven Mincha Gedola, you wouldn't do Birchas Kohanim.
They do a lot of times.
That they don't do Birchas Kohanim.
The Ramban, the early minchas, they don't make.
They don't do Birchas Kohanim. So there's machlokes about it, and I don't recall the other pshat in the Gemara how they say that you could do it even by Mincha Gedola also. The Gemara seems to say only if you do Mincha close to Shkia Sachama. The other pshat probably is going to say that nothing is interrupting, that you could do it. If there's a day that's Ne'ilah, so then Mincha is before Ne'ilah, so it's very different than Ne'ilah because you have Mincha and Ne'ilah. But if you have no Ne'ilah, so then the Mincha is in place of Ne'ilah, so such a kind of a thing. But I don't have it in front of me. I don't know the other pshat.
The first minute they don't.
They don't do that. That'll be the pshat in the Gemara, that you don't do Birchas Kohanim on a fast day by Mincha only if it's similar to Ne'ilah and the fact that it's going to be close to Shkia Sachama. The Gemara now finishes off that everybody took for granted that you're not allowed that a shikar is not allowed to do Nesiyas Kapayim. The whole issue we spoke about, you make Xera, you don't make Xera, but everybody holds that a shikar is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim. And the Gemara wants to know why not. The Gemara continues. I'm sorry. Tekuli Alma. It's about 6 lines from the bottom. Tekuli Alma Mihas Shikar also ben Nesiyas Kapayim. Everybody holds that that a shikar, someone's drunk, is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim. The Kohen who's a shikar is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim. And that's why we made a check.
It's the rice.
What's the rest?
Doesn't it say in Torah not to drink wine?
That's to do avoda. We're talking about Birchas Kohanim.
Isn't that called avoda?
No,
It's similar. It's like the man.
you're not in the Beis Hamikdash. You're not doing the korbanos. So who says that the Birchas Kohanim is also for a shikar? How do you know? I'm Yabishua ben Levi Mishum Kapara. Lama Nitzmacha Parshas Kohen Mevorech. The Birchas Kohanim is called Kohen Mevorech. A Kohen who's blessing the people. So the parsha of Birchas Kohanim is next to Parshas Nazir. Parshas Nazir over there it says Birchas Kohanim next to Parshas Nazir. Why did the Torah put it next to each other? Just like a Nazir is not allowed to drink wine, so too a Kohen is doing Birchas Kohanim is also not allowed to drink wine. That's the drasha. Maskefla Avu Rabbi Zera, his father asked the kasha. Bamila Oshaya Bar Zavda asked the kasha. If so, he's not allowed to eat grapes. The word chasan is chasan and badzak. That's what it says. He's not allowed to eat any part of the grape, either the peel of the grape, the seeds of the grape. Are you going to say that the Kohen is doing Birchas Kohanim is not that's like a nazir? There's not allowed to have anything, not the grapes, only wine. You say that he's a shikar. So if you're learning it from nazir, it should be like a nazir. The show so the work Mishmol is not replacing the drasha. It seems like he's going to agree to both drashas, but the pasuk says the show so the work Mishmol to serve Hashem and to bless His name. It seems the Gemara doesn't use this pasuk to say that it's usher. The Gemara could have said the same way you're not allowed to do avoda when you're drunk. You're also not allowed to drink, not if you're blessing. But that the Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara is just learning out the heter. Just like a Mashor, someone's doing avoda, it's mutter to eat grapes and grape peels, whatever the peels of the grape. So too, the Kohen Baruch is allowed to eat chatzanim. You don't learn out that part from a nazir. The one on the next page, and I don't have it on me right now. Let's read it outside. I don't have it on the screen, but just continue on the Daf Chav Zayin, a couple of lines. Ima Mishra Mishares Balmum Lo. You might say, if you're letting out from the similar to Mishares, the Korban Mishares, doing Avoda, so you'd say that he's not allowed to be a Balmum either. And is that true that a Balmum is not allowed to be a Kohen? He is allowed to. Af Kohen Mevorech Balmum Lo. Are you going to say that? Ayiskesh Nazir. You know, we're saying that it's like a Nazir, that a Nazir doesn't have this Issa to be a Balmum. If you're having it compared both to a Nazir and also to a Kohen Mishares, so how do you know to say each one is going to be a Kuli? You're saying that it's like a Nazir, that it doesn't have to, Balmum is kosher. And it's like a Mishares that he's allowed to eat grapes. Akish, why not say both Chumra? Say that a Balmum is not allowed to do Berachas Kohanim, and also he's not allowed to eat grapes like a Nazir. The answer is Asmachtaninu. And the Rabbanan, the whole thing is Rabbanan, Asmachta, Ulakula. It's not a Deraisa. If we the Raisa, then actually no Chumra. But it's not a Deraisa. All these things is Rabbanan. It seems to say that the whole din is Rabbanan. The whole din about a Kohen, the Vorech, not to drink, is only Rabbanan. And therefore, with the Drasha is not Mechayiv us to say the Chumras. You don't really mean that this is the source. So it seems to say here that the din that a Kohen who's Shikr is not allowed to do Birchas Kohanim is Midrabanan. Okay. Yashikoach.
What's the lashon? My chazit mafshik.
Why do you make the hekesh to the lenient side? Make the hekesh to the chomer side and say both these are rasa. Instead of both these are mutter, say both these are rasa. Then my answer is it's not a regular hekesh. A regular hekesh makshin al. If you have a hekesh, then the klal of the hekesh is you have to go to learn out the more severe, the chumrah. But this is not really a drasha. It's only a smachta. Really, this whole din is drabanan, so it's not a kasha that you have to be makish l'chumrah.
General hekeshim are rice.
Yeah, regular hekesh is the rice. So if the pasuk compared it, so then would be on the rice level. You say that's a chumrah, but we're not taking it as the real drasha.
Sum up.
The summary. Let's see.
Long one.
It says it's almost nice. So it's not such a summary. It's more separate halachas. It says that on the days of fasting, Tanios, Mamados, Yom Kippur, so then there's Birchas Kohanim. Question: the Mishnah only has one shita, but then you have also Yehuda of Yossi. But in our Mishnah says that you do Birchas Kohanim, but all of the tefillas because there's no chash of shichlos. The Yehuda says make gzera. It's only mutter on shachos and musaf. The Yossi says neila also. That's how we paskin. But mincha you don't. And the Gemara says it there, and only if it's next to Shkias Achama, so then you do Birchas Kohanim by mincha v'tainis. The Gemara explains what Mamados means because Am Yisrael is bringing the Korban Tamid and they have to be separate representation. So they made 24 Mishmoros of the Kohanim Leviim. Also, you have mothers of Israel that also have representation. If they live in Yerushalayim, they came to be by the Korban. If not, they got together in their cities and they fasted 4 out of the 6 days, Monday to Thursday. And they read the Torah every day, 6 days. And they read the Ma'aseh Bereshis. Every day they read 2 parshas, each day plus the next day. And the bigger parsha would have been divided into 2 aliyahs and the smaller one into 1. There's no Muhammad, there's no, again, how does it go? That on Shachris, they read from the Torah, as we said, these aliyahs, but by Mincha, they didn't. They just read it Baal Peh. And Musaf is a question how to read the Mishnah. I think the Gemara is going to come out that Musaf also, they did Kriyas Torah 2 times from a Sefer Torah, both by Shachris and by Musaf. By Mincha, they only did it Baal Peh. We'll see the Gemara about that. Then it says that they were Erev Shabbos by Mincha, they didn't have a Mamad because they covered Shabbos. And then it says something about the days that there's Hallel, there's no Mamad b'Shachris. And then the Gemara Machlokes, but it comes out, the Mishnah Machlokes, but it comes out, everybody agrees that on the day there's a Korban Musaf, so there's no Mamad b'Mincha. On the day that there's Korban Eitzim, there's no Mamad b'Ne'ilah. Then it says,
how many times a day is the Mamad? The Shachris, Mincha,
and Ne'ilah.
and the Eva. Those three Mamad. So when you see these
But by Ne'ilah, there was no Kriyas Torah, only by Shachris and by Mincha. And I think that was Musaf. It seems that they also read the Torah, but they're not going to be fasting. As far as I know, they did this Musaf, there's no fasting. So it just means that they read the Torah. And the Gemara is going to come out that they read the Torah from a Sefer Torah with the 3 aliyahs again. Then it says about this man not the 9 families that had supposed to bring wood on that day. And the Mishnah points out that on Rosh Chodesh Teves, there's not going to be a Mamad at all, not B'Shachos, not B'Mincha, and not B'Ne'ilah, because of the 3 things that it has, Hallel, Korban Musaf, and Korban Eitzim. Talks about Shibbos B'Tammuz, the 5 stories that happen on Shibbos B'Tammuz, and the 5 stories that happen on Tisha B'Av. As far as the halachas of Tisha B'Av, it says Matil B'Simcha, Shvuah Shechol Bo is also to take a haircut and to wash the clothing. Thursday is Mutter because of Kavod Shabbos. Psudim of Sekis is also to have two tafshilim, also to have basar and yain. But Shimon Gamliel says just to minimize. The person like Tanakam is also the Gamri. Machlokas if you have to do kfiyas amita, Chachamim say no kfiyas amita. Then it says about the Yom Tovim of Chamisha Asabab and Yom Kippur, which the Gemara they have to explain what's the Yom Tov of Chamisha Abab. We don't know yet. And it says that the girls would go to the of Yerushalayim would dance in the Kromim, and the boys, let's see, the Bachman would come out to the ones who are looking for a shidduch. And then it says.
Is this your only source to buy?
This is it. This is the sukkah is going to be over here, and then it says the psukim that what they would say that so taten lecha b'mishpacha yishu yosh Hashem mitasalo, and it brings the end the pasuk about Sena Rena ben Osion Yom Chasunaso Zematan Tov Yom Sim Chaslivo Zebeni Besamikdash. The rest of the Gemara I think we explained more or less that it doesn't mean all 3 days have 4 tefillas; they only have 3 tefillas, but sometimes even 4 tefillas on Yom Kippur. And then we said that Machokus of Meir of Yehuda and Rav Yossi, and Machokus of Pascal like, we pass like Rav Yossi. And nowadays, we only would say Birchas Kohanim by Mincha if it's Samach L'Kiyas Achama. The Pashas in the Gemara is Mashma Mincha Gedoli, the Kitab Mincha Gedol on Alatainus, you're not going to do Birchas Kohanim, but there are those that do. I forgot how they learn, maybe tomorrow I'll be able to remember. And the last thing the Gemara said, the source of Shikas Asab and Nesias Kapayim, the Gemara does say a drasha, but the Gemara comes out that's an Asmachta. It's only also Rabbanan, and the drush is going to be from both Nazir and according to that Mishores. So it's going to be usher in wine, but mutter in grapes, and also it's mutter for Balmum to do Birchas Kohanim.
Mishras is saying less. Is there the other types of?
Mishores is the regular avodah. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in a few minutes with Navi. Today's Wednesday. So we'll be doing Tillim. Yashiko, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go to Shalom, welcome. We're Navi today. Thank you, Benjamin. So just according to with the new device that we're using, which is really the old device, the Benjamin's with the computer. So I am able now to put the screen, the text on the screen. So maybe we'll try it and see if people like it like that. So take a second, share screen.
Just point out you're still recording.
Oh, thank you for telling me. Where do I stop that? 1 second.
Benjamin, we miss you here.
Same here, my friend.
Bigger, I think, but